In my constant quest to find fun co-op games, I came across The Cycle, an upcoming free-to-play game that I had never heard of that's still in testing and just recently had a weekend playtest. During the course of about 3 days, I probably logged about 12 hours that I didn't have because I was really enjoying myself. It's a very strange game, something that's hard to describe because if I was forced to, it'd be like, take the Dark Zone in The Division and mix it with the open world questing of Firefall, add in the player matches and match economy of Counter-Strike with the build and class customization of an action RPG, the forced pacing of something that we see in Battle Royales, and a sprinkle of Destiny's Gambit. But even then, it's not like that makes it any clearer for you. So, The Cycle describes themselves as a competitive quest shooter. I think to set the scene up here, it's important to know that The Cycle is a PvE/VP game that is played in matches. You choose between jumping into a match, either solo or in a squad, which can go up to 4, and then you are spawned on this large map with a total player count of about 20 currently. And it's a good time to mention, it's alpha testing, many specifics including player count and stuff like this can and probably will change closer to release. And on the map, you will find many different enemy monsters, as well as having this task list. So by completing the tasks set out for you, you will earn points, and are ranked against everyone else in the game based on how many points you have. Each time you complete a task, you're issued a similar task with higher requirements. These tasks range from holding on to a crystal that shouts out your whereabouts to everybody else, to essentially thumping or activating a harvester for crystals and having to protect it against waves of enemies, or traveling to a power station on the map and getting it back online. The twist here is everyone else is doing the same thing, so that power station, if you and a random stranger approach at the same time, what happens? Do you guys fight? Does one person back off? Or do you use the pact system, which allows you to make a party, even if only temporary, and be forced to share rewards and payouts, but you at least get the task done? Or what? In solo mode, this plays a much larger part because there are map objectives that are much easier and more efficient when you're in a group, and so uneasy truces weren't uncommon in order to get ahead, as well as there obviously being strength in numbers, and being in one of these uneasy alliances helps to deter attacks. It doesn't hurt that if you die once, you're out, which tends to make some people a little bit more risk averse. The namesake mechanic of the cycle, the cycles, make the world more hostile by scaling the monsters that exist, as well as amping up radiation storms that cause you to need to evacuate. In fact, to mention it, evacuating is the goal of each match, to leave the planet alive, and then once that occurs, whoever leaves alive with the most points is actually who wins. So that person you made a pact with earlier at the power station, you could decide to double cross him as you wait for evacuation to come to not have to split the spoils if you're in a position to win, or you could both camp out at an evacuation site waiting for the point leaders to arrive and ambush them. Something that spices up the gameplay is the match's economy. On top of doing tasks, you can just kill monsters on the map and earn money. This money can then be used to call down different upgrades for your character for the remainder of the match, calling down different weapon types, upgraded versions of weapons, skills, items, etc. So there is this push and pull between efficiency and power level in contrast to other players, as well as this natural progression where you are getting stronger, or at the very least having access to more tools as the match goes on. And you will find players who all they do is farm cash and then go hunt other players. Some people will just ignore all of that and grind out missions, and in squads, the organization brings with it a lot of tactics. Do they stick together? Do they do recon? Do they spread out? Do they task their best shooter to get a sniper rifle and then go mess with people? Who brings what gun? Who brings what skills? Who buys what when? This coordination and premeditation can go crazy once you see the customization of your character that you create before matches. And this includes what you bring into a match by default, which is your sidearm and a kit, which is basically just a player class. Some will give you a charged super jump or a jetpack. Another would give you the ability to double jump. Some are meant to be more resistant to damage versus being more mobile. I think you get the idea. You also then have 4 slots for primary weapons and 4 slots of utility items or skills, and these items are the choices you can choose between in-match to buy. These items will range from grenade launchers and railguns and shotguns to stim packs and blinks and turrets. They also can have varying costs, which directly affects in a match when you'd be able to even buy it. You're planning your own early, mid, and end game, and imagine if you have a static 4-man group, think of all of the customization that can happen for a game plan. And almost all the items can also be modified further. The weapons, skills, kits, they all have these slots that allow you to augment and give these items different boosts and bonuses. Maybe you deal more damage to monsters, maybe the crit rate's higher but the reload's longer. Many of these have drawbacks, but there's so many of them that you can kind of squeeze out a playstyle here. The amount of options, as well as unlocking them, also seems to act as the purpose for everything. The reward for playing a match is bringing back materials you found there and gaining reputation with different factions or companies. You use those materials to build the different items and then gain access to equipping your character with them, but each item will have a company or one of those factions who designed it, and I imagine you need a certain reputation with that company to unlock it to make it available to build. This is speculation, as during the test though we had giant stockpiles of resources and everything was unlocked so we could try it all, but that's what makes sense. And that's really it though. You kind of have this cycle of heading into the map fully kitted out to earn resources to kit yourself out differently. My thoughts on the game: I really enjoyed what I played. The thing is, I'm kind of conflicted, and I think the development of the cycle will be too, unless they settle on what the core experience will be, because the game and what makes it interesting is so different based on if you play solo or with a squad. When playing solo, each match and encounter with a person is kind of tense. There's this wild card factor, will they or won't they? And I think stressing additions to the game that require teaming up or making it more beneficial to have to engage with other people in ways other than a firefight is something I'd love to see explored further. And I mean, you could do this in squads, but it would be a little bit harder. But currently, when playing in a squad, it's more like a distorted MOBA. It's always kill or be killed, and there is a lot of depth, and because of the amount of options and the variety of tactics you can employ, sure, the skill ceiling is really high, but the skill gap will just get larger and larger and larger between veteran teams and newcomers. But because it's this 5-squad free-for-all essentially, I wonder how or if they'd be able to employ some type of elo or matchmaking or any kind of system to help prevent the constant mismatches and steamrolling that already occurs in a game that's only had a few test phases. Leaning into the competitive side or the PvP side also has the pitfall that the appeal of the game requires it to be popular or relevant, which is a tough ask for a game that most likely will roll out in an early access state and attempt to grow slow over time. Those are just my quick thoughts. The cycle, at least for me, came out of nowhere and was a pleasant surprise. I'll leave a link to their Twitter and their Discord for you to check out more information if you're interested. And before we close out the video, a quick shout out and plug at the end here to Displate. They make these really cool metal posters that make great gifts and just are a huge step up from the type of paper posters that we had in school. The wife actually grabbed a few of these animal shots and now they decorate our front hall. They work with magnets, so they're easy to put up with no damage to the walls. This isn't a sponsored video, although using the link will support the channel. I just would rather share a rad product with you guys than set up merch that ends up being my logo on a garbage Gildan t-shirt or generic coffee mug. But with that, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Until next time, this is Fever. Peace.